Hello, Congressman Pete Sessions from Washington, D.C. And today we have a very important opportunity, I believe, to share information with Mike Rickman, who is the Deputy Director of the North Texas Water Municipal District. Mike has been a 34-year resident of the city of Dallas and 13 years that he's been with the North Texas Water Municipal District. And Mike, you've been coming up to my office for a long, long time talking about water for North Texas.
That's correct. Probably for about the last 8 to 10 years.
8 to 10 years. And during that period of time, Mike, you have spoken with me about two important factors that really we want to get into today in water for North Texas. And I think the two biggest issues that really come to play here is the dramatic rise in population or popularity of North Texas as not just a destination place for people to visit, but where they really want to live. And secondly, the climate change or the lack of rain that we are getting in Dallas. It seems to have gone in trends of I remember the late 80s and early 90s when our reservoirs were full and now not so full. Could you address those two issues as they address North Texas water issues?
Yes, addressing the population, what we're seeing is over the past few decades, the North Texas Municipal Water District service area has grown very, very rapidly. Just to put in perspective, if you go back to 1951 when the district was created, we served a little over 31,000 people. And today we serve 1.6 million people and projected to grow to 3.7 million people during the planning horizon of the water supply, which goes through 2070.
So you and I, me as an elected official, you as a very diligent and honorable a worker for the North Texas Municipal Water District and the people of the area, you're paid to do this. We have to work together to make sure we're not just looking at today, but also over the horizon.
That's correct. Water supply projects are very difficult to develop. They're very long-term to develop. So you have to make sure that you start early to get them online when you need them.
Good. So you have been coming up the last couple of years, and we've been talking about a couple projects. One in particular involves Lake Texoma. And Lake Texoma, I'll let you describe it, but is the northern part of the North Texas Water Municipal District where we use that to help us with the lower chain, what I would call chain of lakes, as we move water across and even up to Lake Lavon. So if you could talk about, you've been coming up talking with me and we've been working together.
Yes, we have been working together, and we're certainly appreciative of that.
Yes, sir.
The Lake Texoma is about 28% of the district's total supply, and in 2009, zebra mussels were discovered in Lake Texoma, which is an invasive species. And because our pump station was located partially in Oklahoma, we were not allowed to transfer water because of a federal act known as the Lacey Act, which prohibits invasive species from being transferred across state lines.
So in other words, all of a sudden water that we're used to getting, that's 28% of our backbone, our main water, is now all of a sudden cut off.
That's correct.
That's why you really came up and we were both really breathing heavy for a couple days because we realized if we got into a drought that summer, we were in trouble.
That's absolutely correct.
So we worked together.
That's absolutely correct. The first thing that was done, we saw that we had to either continue to pump the water from Lake Texoma into Lake Lavon, and we thought once the zebra mussels were found in Lake Lavon, which we thought they would be, then we would be allowed to pump. Unfortunately, the Lacey Act still does not allow that. So we had to take measures to build a pipeline from the pump station all the way to Wiley, Texas, about 47 miles of pipeline at a cost of $310 million to our ratepayers, so that we did not ever return the zebra mussels back into the environment. They were in a pipeline all the way from Texoma to the water treatment plant where they were eradicated at the plant. But even with the pipeline, we still had Lacey Act implications, and that's when we came to you and said, we need help getting some relief from the Lacey Act.
And this is a whole bunch of elected officials and a whole bunch of water people saying, now.
That's correct. We fast-tracked the pipeline. Took 2 years to build the pipeline, which is unbelievably quick for something that you can drive your car through. It's that large. And so we were moving along with that construction project, knowing that we had to have some help from Congress to get a bill through. So H.R. 6007 was signed in 2012, but that was specifically related to zebra mussels, no other invasive species. So we were able to, with your help, to get that bill passed, and the other congressional delegation from our area were very supportive and very helpful.
You bet. We worked together. I expected you to put your end together with our elected officials, and you expected me to do my part. And that's the way we saw it at the time. Boy, we got a problem, zebra mussels, Lacey Act, got to get this done, negotiating with the federal government that was not very helpful as what we had wanted, but we had to work on that. And then all of a sudden, we got that signed into law, and then
the problem arose that what happens with this $310 million project if another invasive species were to get into Lake Texoma? The fear is that the quagga mussel would be listed. The quagga mussel is a sister to the zebra mussel. The quagga then would stop us from pumping again, and we would be going back to Congress for relief from the quagga mussel.
Or to the federal government asking for them to please give us a variance.
That's correct.
Wasn't going to happen.
We were not successful, no, sir.
So we came back in round 2, and it's worked. It's now signed into law.
It's signed into law last month, started in February, signed into law in June. And that's the second exception to the Lacey Act since the Lacey Act was put into place in 1900.
So we can tell that these exceptions aren't granted very often, but I think that the common sense approach of what we needed and for the right reason, we all worked together and we got it done. What are the cities that take water out of the North Texas Water Municipal District?
We serve about 61 agencies on the north and east sides of Dallas. The largest cities we serve are Plano, Garland, Frisco, McKinney, Richardson, Mesquite, Rockwall, Royce City. That's the majority of them.
Sounds like a bunch of really great people.
They are. Very appreciative of what was done to maintain the supply to the 1.6 million people we serve.
I just want to make sure we get this right. Working together, looking at problems is great. Now we're going to have to count on the good Lord to help us with some rain.
Yes, sir.
And it's raining today in Dallas, which is good news. But we need more rain. What does that look like from a long-term perspective? From
a long-term perspective, we're down on our reservoir levels compared to where we have been in the past, and we're down to the point where if we have an extreme, if the drought continues like it has in the past, we could be in stage 4, which is no outdoor watering in our drought plan, later this summer, or even the next 2 summers if the drought continues that long.
So that's how important this is. We literally are to the point where these 1.6 million people could be without water for outside use.
That's absolutely correct.
And we would still have to find out a way that we could get it done inside the house, but outside the house would be in trouble.
And where we are today, as of June 1st, we have gone to all 13 member cities and the remainder of our customer cities and gotten agreement with them to go to twice per month watering through the remainder of the summer.
Yeah. So this is putting pressure now on locally elected officials who are having to make tough decisions about businesses, about people, even code enforcement people are having to get involved in this, and fights between neighbors, so to speak, about was this a water day or a non-water day? Mike, this is important. I, on behalf of the people of the 32nd Congressional District, want to thank you and the North Texas Water Municipal District, not only for this long relationship that we have, but also working well with me. And I feel like that what we're trying to do today is to make sure that the people of North Texas understand that a crisis that we're trying to work on means that if we can get this accomplished and get the good Lord to help us, that we will be okay. But we're going to have to continue working together. The last thing I'd say is after thank you is, remember the success of a rain dance has a lot to do with timing, my friend. So I look forward to continuing to work on this and with the North Texas Water Municipal District.
Thank you so much for your help.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for listening to this very important information as a result of the work that we do in Washington, D.C. or in Dallas, Texas across this district. If at any time I can be of assistance to you, or if you have questions about anything that we're discussing today, if you'll contact my Dallas District office at 972-392-0505 or our Washington, D.C. office at 202-225-2231. Thank you very much for listening to us today, and God bless each of you, and God bless Texas.